Buying a property is the easiest thing ever. It is an event. However, it is when you're buying properties predominantly for rental purposes where it becomes a little bit tricky. And this is what a lot of people get it wrong. A lot of investors get it wrong. And in this video, I'm going to break it down on terms of how can you actually manage your rental properties so that you can gain success. Because if you buy, it is easy, like we all know. However, the whole period in which that you're going to be managing that property, that's when you're going to either make money or lose money. How's it going? It is I, your boy, TJ, Taurai Jack from M5 Property Addicts. And today we ate it again, and we want to talk about managing your rental properties for success. Managing your rental property for success. As you all know, I am in the game of rental properties, and we do this for a living. And I call those my cash cows. My cash cows, because it is all properties that we buy once, and for the rest of my life, they're giving me passive income. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that quite a lot. We started off with a 2-bed, 1-bath back in the days, and we've gone now to just over 200 tenants across South Africa: Durban, Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Pretoria. And I enjoy that piece of the business, and we do that with my 5 partners in a business that is called M5 Property Addicts. Boom! And if I'm not doing that, I write books. So my latest book that I've written is called From Bad Debt to Property Mogul. You can see there. And I'm one of those people who enjoy learning all the time. I enjoy learning. And this is one of the reasons also why I decided, well, let us also teach you on here on this YouTube channel. So if you've never been here before, this is what we do. We talk about what we do. So if you've never been here, yeah, you need to subscribe so that you can get this good quality information from people that are actually doing this every day. And if this is your second, third, fourth time, you know the drill. Boom, welcome aboard. Yeah, right. Let's jump onto the context of what we are wanting to talk about. It is easy to buy a 2-bed, 1-bath. It is easy to go and buy that house. It is easy to go and buy that building, because potentially you are using your money to go and buy it. It's your hard-earned money. I don't know where you got it from, wherever. Or it could be someone else's money, which is my happier place, you know, having someone else's money working in there, and whilst I'm also making some passive income in there. I want to stress the fact that what I'm going to be talking to you about within this video, I think of all my videos that I've ever done, this is the most important video ever that I've done. And why do I say this? Because what I'm talking about today, it is the crucial, it is the lifeblood, it is your heart, it is everything that makes you to exist in property investment. Property management, I cannot stress that enough. I am privileged that I've got a business partner who understands property management far much greater than I am, and he is meticulous in terms of managing these properties. So big up to Bevan Thomas, who is my business partner in this, and he runs our property management business, which is called Frost Pick. And in there, we are literally managing just over 200 tenants. So you can imagine the amount of work. If you're getting headaches with one tenant, we get that times 200. But it is very easy. It can be done if you have processes. I want to come back to the fact that because this is the most important video ever that I'm going to do, if this is ill managed, you are going to close doors. I am serious about this. If your property management is going to be ill managed, you are going to lose money. We're not in it we're not in this to actually lose money, but we're in it to get the passive income that we are always talking about. So this needs to be managed well. If you don't know how to do it, then don't do it. I want to put this up front. If you don't know how to do it, don't do it at all. I tried it at some point and I didn't enjoy it. We passed it on to some other property managers, and in our business, out of the plus the 200 tenants that we've got, the 200 we actually manage on our own, but we actually have others, other properties where we actually subcontract to other property managers. Why? They could be at a distance from where we are operating from. Two, there could be a better property manager than we are in that particular area. So it's not always about, hey, I'm going to manage my own properties on my own. There's lots of things that come into it. But let me not digress. Let me jump into, these are the basic stuff that I'm going to tell you about. And by no means am I going to be saying this is the it, but out of the plus 4 or 5 years that I've been in this business, I can literally tell you that if you're not properly managing well, you're not going to achieve your passive income that you're looking for. So this is your lifeline. This is the blood of your business. You need to get it pumping all the time. So let's start with the first thing. Buying a property is an event. It comes and it goes and it's done. It's gone, right? However, someone needs to manage the property. And in this property, you've got people that we call tenants. And I want to stress the fact that when you've got tenants, I see a lot of people, they go on, especially when they're starting off, they become friends with tenants and they become acquainted with tenants. This is a deadly position to be in, right? You can't be friends and you can't be a service provider at the same time. Because when do you become the referee and when do you become the landlord? If you become the friend or if you become the colleague. For some people, they say, hey, it works for me because then I can go and speak to them in a friendly manner. No, I don't believe that. I am of the view that it is a business that you are running. You are a service provider. Your tenants are your clients and you should treat them as your clients. With the uttermost respect, with the boundaries put in place, you as the service provider, yes, if you become friends, you become friends, but however, the two needs to be separated all the time. I am of the view that if you are to treat these clients or the tenants as your friends, things like where you actually need to have a contract, that kind of thing might just be slipped away because this is my friend that we're talking to. You are going to lose money if you go this route. So the first thing that I actually want to speak about is to say that when you are buying a property, remember, that is the first step. So it's an event. And the next thing that we now need to be doing is management. Management is a process. And I want to stress the fact that your management style today could be different from next week, could be different from next year, could be different in Corona, could be different out of Corona, right? We've all been hit with COVID. We all understand what it's all about. So management styles have been different as we've been going along. What do I mean? In some cases, you need to be lenient. In some cases, you need to be extremely strict on some things and things like that. So it just depends in the season where we are in. And as a landlord, this is your role to see what exactly should you be doing, should you not be doing. So it's like a push and pull. You need to be understanding that. But if you don't understand your actual property, you can never be able to do that. If you don't understand the people that are staying in your property, you're not going to be able to do that. The second thing I want to speak to you about is that the fact that these are tenants and these are clients, you need to have a contract in place. I am not going to talk about contracts, but I'm going to highlight the ins and the outs of the contract, but I'm going to highlight the fact that you do need a contract. I'm not talking about the contract that you're going to buy these retail shops. On here, I am going to give the second pump fist I'm going to give. I first gave my pump fist to my boy, Bevan Thomas, and this one here is going out. Shout out to Michelle Dickens, boom, and together with their team at TPN. I don't think that had Michelle and her team, had they not put the packages that they've got. So here we've got the TPN. I think they are TPN.coza, and you can literally look up to them. And for a very reasonable price, you can buy a residential pack, you can buy a commercial pack. Look, you want to have such kind of things. At the back of that, they do all the work for us. They go in, when I say us, I also mean you, for as long as you're subscribing to them. So for as little as, I think it's less than 100 Rand or something, check it out on their website, you can get these contracts. And those contracts, you know what they do? From time to time, they go in and check what is happening from a law perspective. They update that. When they update, they automatically update the agreements there for us. So it is a big pack that you get, and in there you can start to see, okay, fine, as a landlord, what is applicable to me and what is not. For us, everything applies. Why? Because I want to be fully covered. In your contracts, this is where you have your do's and the don'ts of, remember, this is a business that you're running. So in my view, your contract actually is your service level agreement. This is what I'm going to do as a landlord, and this is what you are going to do as a tenant. I want to stress to the fact that as and when you have the contract, yes, in our business, in Frospeak, we actually have another document, a separate document. And this goes on to my topic number 3, which is what is in the contract, like this, the actual contract, the one that you get from TPN. Yes, it covers some of the things, simple things like, can you smoke in the property? Can you not? Do you have pets? Where do you park your car? You know, those are some of the intricate things. But with managing 200 tenants and having multiple properties, some properties, like one property with 5-10 units on it, and one property has got 30 units in it. So you cannot really take in the TPN contract and you can make it a blanket for all, because what happens is that as and when you start growing, and bearing in mind, yeah, I'm talking from a perspective of you've just started off your business, right? It is a business. Think of it as a business. You have started off your business, you've got your 1-bed, 2-bath that you are renting it out. Now you've got your TPN contract, but now you're growing now to your 3, 5, 6, 10 properties, right? And you're having different types of properties that you're now having. Obviously, each building is very different from the next. So for instance, in all of our buildings, for us, we have a caretaker that stays on a building. We have a separate document, and that separate document is for, I call that document the service level agreement. And this document is all about the rules and the regulation, right? The rules and the regulation, right? The do's and the don'ts. You shall not park on the grass. You shall not hang your laundry on the balcony, right? So those kind of things now, those are kind of like operational based on the actual properties, right? No loud music after, I don't know, 5 p.m. because you could be in an old people's area. I don't know. So each property carries its own rules and regulation, right? And for that reason, you are managing that property with its own exceptions of the tenants in that area and the actual building where that property is. And together, you can actually see now that you are providing good service to the people. The gate should be locked at all given times. Maybe you don't have a security guard, right? But if you've got a security guard, obviously that line doesn't follow within there, because then obviously your security guard is the one who is supposed to open and close it, like where I stay. We've got a boom gate. It's always open. There's security on it, 3 guards at any given time. So whenever I am driving in, they know me, they know my vehicle, it is tagged. So whenever I'm coming through, they open the gate for me. It's different from my properties that I own, where potentially some of them, the security of the gate is so important that, you know, remember you've got families that are there. So if anything is to go wrong within these families, and let's say the gate has just been left open, the blame can easily be on the side of the landlord. So you want to make sure that you are guarding yourself against all of this. And things like those, like gates and things like that are working, are in good order. You're checking all the time. What am I saying here? What I'm also saying, which throws in into point number 5, is that Remember, you are providing a service here. Remember, you are providing a service. Now, we have spoken to the fact that buying the property is an event. Great. So now you're moving on, right? So now we're talking about the actual management of it. And we said, okay, fine, you can come in the TPN. And I'm not going to speak about things like how do you bring in deposit, how do you vet the people. I think that's kind of like standard stuff. You need to be doing that. You know, if you're not having a tenant moving into your property and you haven't vetted them, it's on you. How do you know that they're going to pay you, right? Check, right? But anyway, I'm not going to waste my time on it. I really want to speak about the whole operations of making sure that your tenant is happy. So we're assuming that this tenant here is a good payee. This tenant here is going to stay at your property. But what are the other things that can make or break your relationship? And this is what I'm talking about here. So we spoke about the contracts. You're not friends with these people. Maybe you might want to be friends with them, but let's move on from there. They are your clients. As a client, you have a service level agreement. And then thereafter, you've got a document that I'm calling here the rules and the regulations. What should be done, what mustn't be done. And if something happens on that particular property, which is new, how do you revise your rules and regulations document? So you got a version 1 that came out in January. And next year, January, you can revise that because maybe you have found that people in that area, they like one of these properties where we've got, it's a slightly big complex, and the guys in that area, they work very close to a factory. So the guys are hands-on. So guess what happens over the weekend? All of them, they all like checking out their cars. Like, I don't do that. I don't check out my car. If my car is not working, hey, VW, sort out my car. But these guys, they are always in their cars, checking it out. Is there something wrong with that? Not necessarily so. However, you're now starting to have people that are now like over-raving their cars. So obviously it's disturbing the other people in there. But is it wrong for them to do that? If it is not in your rules document, yeah, they're going to do it because there's a gray area around it. So yes, if someone does it, and if there's a complaint, do you see it fit to be in the rules for next time? No sorting out of cars or no checking out of your cars on the property. And if a car is lying idle for more than 6 months, or what happens to it, all of those things you need to put in. Those are the stuff that you're not going to get in the TPN contract. For an example, there are operational stuffs that you need to dig in and understand the type of a tenant that you've got, right? So remember here, like I said, you are a service provider. And in my view, as a home service provider, you gotta be acting like one. You have to act like one. I want to stress the fact that, for instance, I don't know any of my tenants that are in the properties that we manage. I know them by a code or whatever it is where they are staying. And with that, I am able to provide a service with no emotions behind it as a landlord. So I know that ABCD needs to be done. What am I talking about here? I am talking about the fact that as a service provider, there are certain things that you need to be on top of. So for instance, if there is a problem with plumbing, right? Do you sort it out in 12 hours? Do you sort it out in 24 hours? Do you sort it out after 3 weeks? What is happening in the meantime when you're not sorting it out? It's not that your Wi-Fi is stopped. I was just trying to pause this so that you can think about it. Think of it if you were the one staying there, right? So maybe you might have kids. So look at it from a plumbing perspective. So what am I trying to say here? There are certain issues that needs, when they are reported, like for instance in our business force week, we've got a team that works during the week, and we've got a team that is dedicated for the weekend. We've got a team that is standby overnight, right? All of those things. And we've got service providers that work around the clock for when something has happened and our team is not available because our team only works normal hours. And we get those guys out and we sort out those problems, right? So there are certain problems that needs to be sorted immediately. Bearing in mind, I think it's so unfair. I've seen tenants actually saying to some of their landlord, you know what, the door is not broken. I've complained for 15 months. I am going to sort it out and I'm going to deduct it from my rent. No, that conversation should never happen to the landlord. So as a service provider, what are you providing service? What are you there for then? Providing them the shell? I think it's a no-no as a landlord if you are being serious about it. And this is why I am saying that if you become a landlord, so there's two ways to this, right? You can either manage the properties yourself, and if you don't know how to manage them yourself, don't do it. Yes, I did say it. Don't do it. Get someone else to manage it for you. That's why there is estate agents. But I want to stress the fact that not all estate agents knows how to manage properties. Woo! I've lost good money in this journey, yeah, with some estate agent. And some estate agents are even a little bit dodgy. So check them out. If you've got now a couple of properties that you're managing, just double check them, check with them with, like, hold hands before you just, do the behavioral stuff. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's important to do that because you can try them with one property, jump on into the next one, and once it's now working, you can give them your entire portfolio. But I actually don't have any property manager besides Frostpeak who is managing our entire portfolio. And this I learned hard because at one point, we actually gave one person all of our properties, and when things started going wrong, they really went south. So my view is that whatever service provider that you've got as a property managers, plumbers, whatever, always have a minimum of 2 working with you so that when one kind of like screws you up, you can literally jump on to the next one and get a backup. Hey, I am hoping that this information has been key. I tried to structure it in a way that it is not difficult to dissect, but it is also of a great importance for you to understand it, that you need to have certain things in place. So the basic is always, when you got a tenant that's coming in, check them. Do your credit report. We're now doing what is called social checks. We go on to random things like their, social media to see what kind of a person are they. Is it someone that we are happy to put into our properties? We can do, there's lots of other things that you can do. You can ask for bank statements to check their behaviors in terms of how they're spending their money and things like that. So that's kind of like from a checking in of a tenant. Remember, when you check in a tenant in, if you've got a good quality tenant coming in, you never need to actually evict because you've got good tenants. So a good gate in terms of checking in means that from a payment perspective, you're good. But then there's the other component, which is you as a service provider. If you're providing a good service, they're going to stay. You're going to make passive income for the rest of your life. I like this. Check you later.